Hi everybody. Today I'm going to discuss about blended learning, which is very important in today's learning methodologies. We have entered into the digital era of learning, and this is going to help us a lot, and it is going to help the students to save a lot of time and also gain a lot of knowledge. And do you know there are so many types of blended learning? And today I'm going to talk about 12 different types of blended learning. We may be aware of some 6 blended learning technologies, but I'm going to talk about 12 types of blended learning. So this is what is today's topic, that is 12 types of blended learning. What are all the different types you can see? Lab rotation, station rotation, individual rotation, self-directed, project-based, remote, flipped classroom, mastery-based, inside out, outside in, supplemental. See, all are a blended learning methodology. And blended learning, what is blended learning? Blended learning is not so much an innovation as it is a natural byproduct of the digital domain creeping into the physical spaces. Broadly speaking, blended learning just means a mix of learning online and face-to-face, which means it's likely that your students are already doing some form of blended learning and have for years. And now it has increased a lot because we have more of online learning. As digital and social media become more and more prevalent in the life of learners, it was only a matter of time before learning became blended by necessity. Now, out of these 12 models which I have been discussing to you, or which I'm going to explain to you, you need to select the model which will suit your students and your place of work, your institutional standards and their policies. So now blended learning is a model that combines online and face-to-face learning spaces and experiences. And now we are going to discuss about 12 different types of blended learning. And in today's agenda, what will be the takeaway, or what are we going to see, is to explain the most commonly referred to types of blended learning. We are going to talk about nearly 12 types. And it will help you think more about blended learning as a flexible concept that ideally empowers both teachers and students to improve the learning outcomes. And it will help you to identify and adapt a blended learning model that's right for your students. So that is what we are going to see today. And blended learning, what is it? What is the strategy of blended learning? What it involves? If you see, courses that integrate online with face-to-face activities, courses that are taught both in the classroom face-to-face and at a distance, and mixing or combining instructional technology with actual job tasks in order to create a harmonious effect of learning and working, and combining computers with traditional teaching. It's also referred to as reverse teaching, flip teaching, backwards classroom, or reverse instruction. So number one, station rotation chart, or the station rotation blended learning chart. Here, the station rotation blended learning is a model that allows students to rotate through stations on a fixed schedule, where at least one of the stations is an online learning station. And this model is most commonly used in some schools because teachers are already familiar with rotating its centers and stations. And the second one is the lab rotation. The lab rotation model of blended learning is similar to the station rotation, works by allowing the students to rotate through stations on a fixed schedule in a dedicated computer lab, allowing for flexible scheduling arrangements, with teachers enabling schools or colleges to make use of the existing computer facility. And third one is the remote blending learning. It is also referred to as an enriched virtual. In enriched virtual blended learning, the students' focus is on completing online coursework while only meeting with the teacher when it is required. And this approach differs from the flipped classroom model in the balance of online to face-to-face instructional time. In an enriched virtual blending learning model, students would not see, work with, or learn from a teacher on a daily basis face-to-face, but would in a flipped setting. When it is required, they will reach the teacher. And it is very similar to a mix of self-directed, flex, blended learning and the flipped classroom. And number 4 is flex blended learning. What is flex blended learning? It includes in types of blended learning, and its model is one in which a course or subject in which online learning is the backbone of the student learning, even if it directs students to offline activities at times. So students move on an individually customized fluid schedule among the learning modalities. The teacher of record is on site and students learn mostly on the brick and mortar campus, except for any homework assignments. The teacher of record or other adults provide face-to-face support on a flexible and adaptive as needed basis through activities such as small group instructions, group projects, and individual tutoring. And this is very similar to the remote blended learning, inside out blended learning. Next comes the flipped classroom blended learning. Perhaps the most widely known version of blended classroom, a flipped classroom, is one where students are introduced to content at home and practice working through it at school, supported by a teacher or peers. In this way, the traditional roles for each space are flipped. It is very similar to the remote blended learning. And then comes the individual rotation blended learning. The individual rotation model allows students to rotate through stations, but on individual schedules set by a teacher or a software algorithm. Unlike other models, students do not necessarily rotate to every station. They rotate only to the activities scheduled on their playlist. And it is very similar to the mastery-based blended learning. Now comes a very interesting learning methodology, that is project-based learning. This is what is taught by every industry. Blended project-based learning is a model in which the student uses both online learning, either in the form of courses or self-directed access, and face-to-face instruction and collaboration to design, iterate, and publish project-based learning assignments, products, and related artifacts. And it is very similar to the self-directed blended learning, outside in. Then comes the self-directed blended learning. So in self-directed blended learning, the students use a combination of online and face-to-face learning to guide their own personalized inquiry, achieve formal learning goals, connect with mentors physically and digitally, etc. As the learning is self-directed, the roles of the online is shared. And in self-directed blended learning, one challenge for teachers is to be able to judge the success of the learning experience without de-authenticating it. For students, the challenge is to seek out models of products, processes, and potential that can provide the kind of spark that can sustain learning while being self-aware enough to know what's working and why, and to make adjustments accordingly. Some students need very little to soar, while others need support through very clear pathways that they can guide themselves through with autonomy and self-criticism. So it is very similar to inside-out blending learning and project-based blended learning. Then comes the inside-out blending learning. In inside-out blending learning, experiences are planned to finish or end up beyond the physical classroom, but still require and benefit from the unique advantages of both physical and digital spaces. In both the outside in and inside out models, the nature of the online learning is less critical than the focus on platforms, spaces, people, and opportunity beyond the school walls or college walls or university walls. The online components could be self-directed inquiry and or formal e-learning courses and the curriculum. Because of the learning pattern is outward, project-based blended learning is an excellent example of the inside-out learning model. As with outside-in learning model, there is a need for expert guidance, learning feedback, content teaching, and psychological and moral support from face-to-face interactions on the daily basis. Well designed, each of three areas plays to its strengths and complements the other two. This is very similar to the outside-in blending learning or blended project-based learning. Then comes the outside-in blended learning. So in outside-in blended learning, experiences are planned to start in the non-academic physical and digital environments students use on a daily basis, but finish inside a classroom. This could mean traditional letter grades and assessment forms, or less traditional teaching and learning that simply uses the classroom as a closed circuit publishing platform, a safe space to share, be creative, collaborate, and give and receive feedback that grows student work. A well-designed, each of the three areas plays to its strengths and complements the other two. While the pattern is outside in, unlike remote blended learning, there is still a need for guidance of the teachers on a daily basis. So it's very similar to inside out blended learning. Then supplemental blended learning. So in this model, the students complete either entirely online work to supplement their day-to-day face-to-face learning, or entirely face-to-face learning experiences to supplement the learning gained in online courses and activities. So the big idea here is supplementing. Critical learning objectives are met entirely in one space, while the opposite space provides the student with specific supplementing experiences that the other did not or could not get. Then comes the mastery-based blended learning. So students rotate between online and face-to-face learning, like activities, assessments, projects, etc., based on the completion of the mastery-based learning objectives. Assessment design is crucial in any mastery-based learning experiences. The ability to use face-to-face and digital assessment tools is either powerful or complicated, depending on the mindset of the learning designer. So this is what today we have discussed about the 12 blended learning methodologies. And thank you so much for listening. And you can reach me for further clarifications. Thank you so much. I hope you all will agree with me that in 21st century, following the new educational policy also, blended learning is very, very essential. We cannot depend only on the classroom or only on the online session. So one has to, the student mindset also should be self-learning, and they should also bring forth a lot of knowledge from what is existing outside and come back to the classroom and discuss with the teacher. And especially the PBL, project-based learning, is very, very essential. whatever you study in the classroom, whatever concepts you study, you need to know how to apply it in the real world situation. So project based learning, or it can also be called as problem based learning, is very, very essential, where you learn in the classroom and apply it outside. So that is one of the most sought learning methodology by the industry. So industries look forward for students who have that PBL learning methodology, so that they will know how to apply their knowledge and concept, whatever they have picked up in their university curriculum. So my dear ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all would have got benefited with this 12 methods, different types of blended learning, and look forward for more teaching methodologies, which I'm going to discuss in detail. Thank you so much for your patience. Stay blessed.